Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Observable Flutter. My name is Craig Labenz, and I'm your host. And today we are treading into uncommon, rare ground in Observable Flutter history, where I have the pleasure of being joined by not just one, but two esteemed guests. One, most of you probably already know, and the other, you will know in short order. So, as you may have heard, there was some news recently. Google has a new AI-based editor, and it's called Antigravity. I've, of course, been playing around with it a lot. Maybe some of you have as well. And today we're going to kick the tires. And I'm very excited about the guests today. A lot of expertise. They've both either used or been working on Antigravity quite a bit. So before we get too far into it, please do recall that this is the Flutter community. We hold ourselves to a high standard, and I know today we will meet and maybe even exceed that standard. All right. My guests today are both Rody Davis and Andy Zhang. They work at Google, of course. Rody is one of my compatriots in the developer relations wing of Google, and Andy is a design engineer on Antigravity and has been building it for, I don't actually know how long. We'll let Andy tell us that. So, Andy and Rody, welcome to Observable Flutter. Would you like to say a few words to yourselves?
Hey guys, great to be here. My name is Andy. I'm a design engineer on the Antigravity team. And great question earlier. I've been working on Antigravity for just over 3 months now. So it's been a very, very exciting and crazy 3 months, and we're super happy to put this out in the wild for everybody to be using it. I'll pass it on to Rody now.
Cool. Awesome. I'm Rody. I'm on the AI workflows team at Google. I'm in DevRel, and I'm super excited to be able to think about all the ways that we're using Gemini. That includes Gemini CLI, Antigravity, and a bunch of other surfaces that you have come to love. I also really love working with the Flutter team and all the different full stack projects across Google.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. So it's funny, the answer of 3 months is quite funny. It's really not a very long amount of time, but I think as a lot of people know, this all came out of the Windsurf acquisition, which was just kind of mid summer of this year. So it couldn't have been much longer than that. And so obviously these projects take a lot longer than 3 months, but Google has scrapped this together very quickly, very honestly impressively. I didn't know what to expect the first time I launched Antigravity, and just a few nights ago I was coding with it kind of all night. I was preparing to open source this library that I've been working on, and I found it to be extraordinarily delightful and helpful in a way that really exceeded my expectations. And I'm not just saying that, like that was my very real experience using it. So, Rody, recently you put up, you just kind of screen recorded something, put up a quick video on YouTube. Folks may or may not have seen that. Can you walk us through what you were doing and just kind of how you think about using Antigravity?
Yeah. So Antigravity is like a really cool way to start from scratch or kind of work at multiple levels at once. As people know, like when you're working with Flutter, it's really common to have a bunch of a mono repo with like sub packages. And specifically, Antigravity has this thing called an async manager. And you can actually open up individual packages. It's like their own like sub projects and be doing a bunch of tasks across everything at once. The video that I uploaded was like starting from scratch with Flutter and like that end-to-end experience of like, I have this idea for an app. Can you come up with a plan, iterating on the plan, and having it like do native dependencies, fix CocoaPods for you, and also even run macOS in the background. And it was really cool. I had a great experience with it. And when you can get it working with in under like 10 minutes, I feel like that's usually a good sign of success. So.
Fixing CocoaPods too. That is the real challenge.
No small feat.
That's Flutter Development's version of, does it run on IE 6?
Yes. Yes.
Windows, or from web development like 10, 15 years ago.
Yes.
Interesting comment here. So we'll obviously just go to chat randomly. Kyle says, hoping we can get word if Gemini 3 is going to start working suddenly. I wonder how powerful it is, but it's completely broken in anti-gravity. I presume you're basically talking about the quota issues. Gemini 3 has been in demand. And it's been really fun, I think, to see how many people all around the world are using it. But you know, there are only so many servers, so many GPUs. But they're trying to slap more into those data centers as fast as they can. All right, so at some point today, I'm going to launch Antigravity, and we're gonna play around with it and actually try to build something. And we've obviously got Andy here to make sure we don't miss any of the bells or whistles that might be less obvious. Either of you two have any other thoughts before we get into that?
I would say this is like a really cool opportunity for people that are looking for a desktop-driven agentive experience. If you think that it's just a VS Code fork, you definitely wouldn't be remiss, because like it does share the same extensions and other stuff. But it really does like have so many little DX features that have added up to like bring a really delightful experience when working in this IDE. Like, for example, the ability to like kick off like background sub processes. You're in the terminal and I can highlight a part of the terminal and then have that put into the chat, or being able to like debug things like in all the different levels. When you run a web server, it opens up a notification that can open up the browser and control it, take screenshots, and it's like this full end-to-end experience that I always kind of wish that VS Code could do, but I just feel like it does at just a really nice level. And then things like the async manager and really deep Gemini integration.
Yeah, I think Rody, you couldn't have said it better on that. I think we've really spent a lot of time trying to think exactly about the things that you were talking about, which is the end-to-end experience. There's a lot of work that happens in the editor, but there's also so much work that happens inside of the browser, and there's so much work that happens in the research. And why have such a fragmented experience across like these different services when you can all have it bundled in one? And I think like that cohesion of all of it bundled in one really makes the developer experience just way more delightful. And I think that folks are going to find that in Antigravity.
Yeah, like I literally caught myself copying logs. And I was like, wait, like this is now a built-in feature. I no longer have to do that. I can just say, look at this terminal tab, and then just grab it for me.
Yeah. I think a big part of, I'll go for it actually.
I was just gonna say, I actually don't think this is why I was really excited to have you specifically on, Andy, and I imagine Rody also knows a lot of these things. I think right now I am the opposite of an anti-gravity power user. I have not done any of these native terminal, like just piping the text through from one thing to the next features that you two are talking about. So anyway, I'm excited to see these in action.
Yeah.
But what were you going to say, Andy?
Yeah, I was going to quickly add before we jump onto the demos that I think the really cool thing about building Antigravity, as one of the design engineers on it, is that like you use the tool that you are building, and so to that flow of like, like you have these terminal logs, like, oh, I gotta like move it around. Like there was at some point someone on the team was like, this is frustrating. Like, why don't I just go ahead and build this so that it's just way easier? And so when you have an entire team of people who run into these issues, and they are actually in control of the product, that's how you end up with a situation where the product, it feels like as if everyone has really thought through all these things that users kind of go to. And so hopefully that's what folks experience when they try it out.
Totally.
So that begs the question. There was a developer who was working on Antigravity, and they were tired of piping, manually copying and pasting error logs. And then they built the solution to it into Antigravity. So are you all building Antigravity in Antigravity?
Exactly. It's anti-gravityception.
Nice.
Best way to dog food, that's for sure.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, I'm ready if you two are ready. So I don't have a tremendously detailed plan today for what we're going to build. Longtime viewers will know that I often just ask chat for inspiration on what we want to build, but I'm also happy to take suggestions from either you, Andy, or Rody. But yeah, let's begin here. So I'm going to share my screen, which is right here. And here we go. I'll make the text a lot bigger. Now, my first question for both of you, and you can answer in whatever order, or as is tradition, just talk over each other. I would say I'm not natively drawn to or an expert in or feel very comfortable in the agent first workflow. So how do you, and maybe I'll start with you, Andy, how are you imagining developers who want to really experience the agent first workflow use Antigravity? Like, where should I click? What screens am I on? How do I think about it?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. And I think, a lot of developers were just fluent in code, and that's kind of what we live and breathe, because that is ultimately the source of truth. But as folks shift towards more of like an agent first view, it really takes a bit of time. You're seeing a lot of unknowns, and you're like, I haven't seen this before, and I don't know if this is for me. And as you use it, some people might love it, other people might still prefer the code. And ultimately, what we try to bake in is for you to have the agency to pick. Like, I actually prefer working in code, so I'm going to stay within the editor. But if you want to work in something more agent first, we do have the agent manager, which you right where your cursor currently is. And in that view, the focal point is a lot more on the agent. And so suddenly you're able to like focus specifically like, oh, like this is what I should be doing next, which is starting a new conversation in this current workspace, StoryForge. And then from there, the agent will kind of carry you along the journey of like what is kind of working through. And at any point when you realize like, hey, this might not be for me, I prefer stay in the code. You still have the open editor button on top right or over there, right below the input, to bring you back into a more familiar experience in the editor. So it's really just like you get to choose your own adventure depending on what you want to do. If you want to read code, the editor is there for you. But if you want to read what the agent is doing and thinking for you, then the agent manager or the side panel within the editor is the right fit for a use case. So ultimately, the flexibility is built in for users to dip their toes in the agent first experience, but also always hop out when they want to.
So I think one of the interesting ways to think about it, if you're like really deep in the Dart and Flutter world, is this is like Build Runner, but with a prompt, and you can have multiple sub processes going at the same time. If you're doing a lot of Flutter work, it's probably common that you're going to have a bunch of folders cloned on your development machine, and you're going to have a bunch of probably internal packages, external packages, and at any given time, you may be wanting to make sure the changelog is up to date and you're bumping a version, or you're over here making sure that I've updated all the dependencies. There's a lot of like common tasks that in Flutter and Dart that just have toil, that either have commands run, that aren't necessarily complicated. But this is where like an async manager can be really nice, because you can have all of your packages that you've cloned like as like top level things with subtasks, and you can be saying like, okay, go update this, and then you can go work on your project, and then you can come back and you'll see this is waiting for input from the user, so I can see, yep, oh, that looks good, go ahead and publish, and then you can kind of be working around it. Kind of gives you that ability to just like hyper-threading to be able to switch processes faster while keeping yourself in the zone a lot more of the time.
Yeah. So one question I have in response to all of that, and it kind of, I guess it's in response to one of the first things that Andy was saying. Is it true? Like, if I actually haven't even tested this is a genuine question. Is it true that if I start some conversation here, like, please, I don't even know if I already did this or not, but please update this to the latest Flutter and Dart versions. So we'll see. I'll just let this cook. The task may be complete. Mm-hmm. The difference between the agent view and the typical editor view, is it really just that the code is hidden? Like, if I click editor view right now, I'll see this same conversation happening.
I think
yes, but it's also in another window. I think that's what confused me.
Think about it as like a menu for your sub projects. So it's like it lives above the folder level. Like, this is like across anything that's inside of Antigravity. So it's like your front door, basically. Like, you can have things in 20 different directories all open in the async manager. They don't have to be all in like the same sub project.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to think about it, is that you ultimately become like more zoomed out, and that's also the reason why we call it the manager, because you're just not just focused on one folder anymore. You can zoom out and see many different things, and that just gives so much option for you to just like spin up like as many as you want across as many workspaces as you want, and just feels a lot more powerful.
I see. Okay. All right. All right. Yeah, I was originally thrown by the jump in, yeah, or jump to another window here. Oh, we're going to beta. All right, let's do it. Let's jump to beta.
And the quick way to do it is Command E, and you can
Okay.
kind of jump out into it. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that toggling windows, or is it staying within the same window?
It should be opening it up as a new window. Like, yeah, because it's its
Yeah.
own experience. Yeah.
Okay, I think I have some more tire kicking to do there. One thing that I expected, I got used to in the Gemini CLI, whenever it wants to run a command, you've got the three options: yes this time, yes always, and no, what are you thinking? There doesn't is there a yes always? Because it feels like when it comes back for input, I'm not seeing a way to say like yes and you don't need to ask.
Andy, you want to talk about some of the settings that are available? Oh,
Andy's connection is not what Andy hoped it would be.
Yeah.
He'll be back at some point. Rody, you want to talk about?
Yeah, go ahead. So basically, if you click on, we should have an anti-gravity user settings that is in the gear icon on the top. It
basically command comma, I'm guessing you're.
Yeah, and so here is actually where you can choose when to trigger those terminal. You can say like at what level. The agent deciding if it's going to request permission is the first option in that drop down.
Mm-hmm.
And you can say like always proceed. And if you keep scrolling down, this is like where you can really start to fine tune it for your exact preferences. You can even like disable allowing anything at all. You can auto execute always. You can even like say like I'm gonna explicitly allow Flutter and NPM as things that you never have to request. And so this is like kind of that space where you can customize it, because everybody's gonna have a different level of
oh, I see. So I could say like Dart is always allowed.
Yeah.
Oh, is it a comma separated list here?
But never use never
like
run
okay.
RM or something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
RM is off limits.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, I would make this bigger for everyone, but Command plus and minus don't work on this window. So apologies, folks, for the small text. So I have not read all of the settings here. And to avoid just doing that, reading aloud for the class, are there any on this screen? Rody, you just called attention to the allow list and deny list for commands. Are there any others on this screen that we should think about specifically?
Maybe not in this one, but on the left side, you'll notice that there are tabs over here. And these are good ways for folks to really configure not just the agent experience, but the entire anti-gravity experience. One of the core features that is probably one of my personal favorites now when I'm doing web development is the browser and how it's able to go ahead and make changes for you. So, is my connection?
No, it's from a few minutes ago. You're perfect now.
Okay, great. Yeah. I just connected Ethernet, so apologies for being disconnected, but I should hopefully be good now.
Hardwired, that'll do it.
Yeah, lesson learned. On the browser side, over here, as you can see, like there's a really great integration with the browser with Antigravity, and you should be able to like configure it over here. There's also the execution policy for JavaScript, and also if you want to enable and disable it. Obviously, there's also configurations with the editor, given that it is a VS Code fork. So folks can change the settings with the editor however they like. And then notifications and tab as well.
The notifications are great. It's nice to be able to like literally be on a different program and just like it notifies you that you have something to review. That opens up the async manager, and now you can jump right back in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So as an example,
nice.
Yeah, it's really, really nice if you just have a bunch of things running and you want the agent to like intervene and like tell you if it's blocked. You don't want it to RM something. So it's going to be like, hey, Craig, like, you want me to RM or this or not? And you're like, thank God you asked me. You go ahead and you're just like, do not RM my root directory.
Yeah.
I'm
Or any other
removing-
directory,
I'm
probably.
removing all bugs, so I'm deleting the project. So
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Can't have bugs if you don't have code. Great question here from Kyle. For the browser URL allow list, is this for something like pinning documentation? Like how should I think about this?
Yeah, that's a great question. So basically, the browser integration, the way it works is that it's going to open up Chrome in a different profile. This profile is different from your usual Chrome that you open. And it has like a set of whitelists that you might allow when you first onboard. But sometimes when it's on a new website, it will always request for permissions if you want to add it to your allow list or not. And that way, you have confidence that it's not just going to go rogue and like start modifying a bunch of websites that you didn't give it permission in, but instead it will always make sure that you consent to it having control on a specific website before it does anything, such as scrolling through the page, clicking on it, typing out input, and a lot of typical browser actions that we typically do as users.
And this would also be to help hedge against like the LLM is taking control and going to be taking screenshots. So if it tries to click on links that are like maybe malicious or what you're not intending on, this just kind of like keeps that little sandbox for known websites.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting. So, I mean, hopefully one doesn't have malicious links in their own projects. Otherwise, something very
It could be an ad,
strange is going on.
like in a website that you're crawling or something. Yeah,
I see. So the browser there is not only for it to test your web-based app, it is also for to crawl the web and do random things, because obviously Gemini CLI, and if you go to gemini.google.com and other LLMs as well, will look up stuff for you, but they do it in a headless way. Am I hearing that this will also kind of do some research on your behalf and you can watch it research as it crawls different websites? Is that what's going on here?
That is not the primary use case for it. But if you ask it to, it has the ability to do that. The agent obviously has the ability to decide like how it wants to proceed. And so to your point, like if there is a more efficient approach, like the headless approach or hitting an API endpoint, it's going to go ahead and do that as opposed to opening up a browser, waiting for load time, loading entire like DOM, and then actually clicking on things. And so it knows the options available, and it will always find the most efficient ways of doing things based off of your preferences.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So anyway, this looks basically like a SSH hosts file or something where it's a one domain per line, I'm guessing.
Exactly. And localhost is there because the primary use case that I personally love is specifically for vibe coding. When you are trying to spin up a website and you're just ripping it, you're letting the agent just go crazy and build a ton of features across many of your different conversations, and then the browser is able to just start testing it for you. And after it's done testing it, it's also going to be able to record what it did while it was testing. And so you could just be in the agent manager and be like, oh, like, can you just show me your work? And it shows you the video recording of the thing that it built, and also how it tested out, whether it's a scrolling or like clicking on different buttons. And whenever that happens, it's like, oh, like not only did it write all the code for me, but it also has proof that the website works as expected, which saves a lot of work on our end and gives a lot of trust in the code that was written.
Maybe something, Andy, could you talk about like just the level of control it has over the browser? Because I think a lot of people think it may just like kind of open it up and do like kind of basic stuff, but I've been really impressed with how powerful it is.
I'd love to see that as well. Maybe we can throw together. Let me just actually I'm going to start a new project. It'll just be Flutter Counter. We'll run it in Flutter Web, and then let's see it driving that. I think that'll be pretty fun. So I'm going to go to, I don't think this code is going to be interesting. I have a repo where I put code that I write on this show, and I don't think yet another Flutter Counter app needs to be committed.
So this could be an example of using the async manager if you want.
Sure.
Do Command E.
Whoop, that's bigger than I
Oh.
was expecting. So the reason that happened, I kept pressing command plus minus plus on the settings tab, and it wasn't rendering there, but it was doing something, and it was waiting. So that's funny. Okay, so Rody, walk me through the async manager.
Yeah, go ahead and hit Command E. And I believe it would work in the playground, although I would suggest like we could just start a new conversation at the top.
Okay.
And then this is where you can say, I want to create a Flutter app, use the Flutter create tool, blah, blah, blah.
Now, I don't want to be in this. Yeah, I kind of want to just be like nowhere. So I didn't want to be in this other workspace.
No, it should be start a new conversation should be the folder, but you can
yeah, so apparently I have a folder that doesn't exist, but now it seems, I don't know, let's just see what this does.
Oh yeah, this should work. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I thought the player, yeah.
Which only targets web. Use the empty template. Let's see if it.
It's just a ephemeral file system, right?
Oh, I may need to create this folder.
Let's see. I think you should be good. Press OK.
Oh. Well, given that there apparently wasn't a problem, that was a surprising pop-up. So you've mentioned the async manager. Is the asynchrony there just that the task is going to take however long and it comes back when it's done?
It's just really a manager, but it's optimized for seeing all of your async tasks and what the latest state is.
I wonder if it is blocked on this folder. Not
existing. Maybe what we could try doing is we can open up another new directory and then opening up that as a workspace. You could do this within the agent manager as well.
Okay. So like here, I would just say open AGY in some new directory.
No, so open up a new workspace from the sidebar. So if you press on the toggle button on the top, you'll see that there's an open workspace below. There you go. And this allows you to add another workspace within your file explorer. And so here you can just designate another one.
Yeah.
And this is when you can really just elevate your experience in Antigravity to be working across many, many different workspaces. And this is obviously a view that you just don't get when you are inside of the editor.
So would a workspace, like I have this little folder here called Flutter DevRel FDR, not to be confused with the president, and I've put a ton of scratch projects in here. Is this the kind of folder that would make sense to be a workspace, or should I be one more folder in?
A workspace should be like, the individual one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I need to make a new folder here, and this would be like, AGY web test, and that's my workspace.
Yep.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
And keep in mind, you could have like a folder open from downloads, another one open from your developer folder, another one in documents, and they're all like inside the async manager.
Okay. So create a new Flutter web project, Flutter project, which only targets web. And then what did I say? Use the empty flag or template, I said.
I've also been really impressed with specifically how powerful Gemini 3 is to like take on these like really long running tasks. Like whereas I had to clear the chat a lot with 2.5, like I've been able to go a lot longer with 3.
So I'm seeing a lot of questions in the chat about MCP. It's about 50% people saying we need the Dart and Flutter MCP server, and the other 50% are comforting them and assuring them that it already exists.
Yep.
So
you can install the Dart and Flutter. Yep.
Yeah. So as an Antigravity user, how do I prove to myself which MCP servers I have installed?
The way that you could do this currently is if you open the editor and then click on the 3-dot drop down on the right side, right next to the X, the 3 dots, and then MCP servers. Click on your, so here you can download some of the MCP servers, but if you want to see exactly which ones you have installed, you can click on Manage MCP servers. And then you can also view your raw config. at the top. Right
view
there you
rock
go.
config. Yep. Aha.
Yeah.
Great. Nice. It's funny. I've installed the MCP server in VS Code and for Gemini CLI before, and on my personal computer, but this one didn't have it installed. But now I do. So this was actually useful because I apparently didn't even have it installed.
Yeah.
Yep. And you can
all right,
install
now
in Flutter VS Code extensions, which you'd probably already have too. But I believe when you first launch Antigravity, you can import those from VS Code as well.
Yeah, I wonder if I failed to do that or if it got reset. I'm not sure. Anyway, great. That was a great little side quest, and it actually paid dividends for me as well, which I wasn't even expecting. Now, let's return to our previous side quest, which was to see for ourselves with our own eyes, as Darth Vader would say, the embedded web browser and AGY driving it. So I presume that I would just start by saying, should I ask Gemini to run?
You could say run the web app to see if it's rendering correctly or something like that. Maybe that should get it to do a screenshot.
Oh, if you go to the editor, back to the editor. I can help you out there. Open the editor, toggle agent, and click on back to agent. There you go.
Back to agent. That's what I needed. Yeah. Okay. So you can run the app using okay, great. So I'll say run it, please. 30%, 33% waste of tokens there for manners.
It's also super, super fast. I've been really excited with how much it can do in parallel. And I like that another like just small little detail, but like when you're doing a big task and you have some additional feedback to give it, you just add a new message and it'll add it to the queue and bring it and kind of modify. It doesn't have to stop everything. And the implementation plan, you can actually comment on individual pieces of it. So you can say, actually, like use this package instead, or I don't want to use that. And this all takes it as feedback while it's live updating. So,
oh my gosh, this is so funny. I have no ability to think ahead at all. I said use the empty thing, but I actually wanted to have it drive the counter app. So a terrible time to remember that I typically want to use -- empty. That's so funny.
It could probably add the counter app pretty easily, but
I was just gonna say let's add some interactive UI to this app. I don't care what it does.
Before you one thing that you could try doing is I think you're currently on fast mode. If you toggle that into planning mode, we could try out some of the things that Rody was talking about. So a quick explanation of that is planning mode is where you want the agent to be able to thinking more like task blocks and being able to do its own planning work. And this is when you give the agent more of the ability to create these artifacts, which are really great summaries of like different checkpoints. So as an example, what Rody was mentioning was like the agent is able to create an implementation plan for you. So that way, before it starts modifying any type of code, it tells you like, this is how I'm thinking about building this interactive UI that you currently have in mind. Or if it did a bunch of work and it also worked with the browser, the agent is also able to create a walkthrough for you and basically tell you, hey, I did all this work for you. This is my proof of work. Here's some screenshots of the browser. What else do you want me to do? And so that's really like the kind of capabilities that planning is able to do. Whereas if you just want to do something very, very quick and dirty, and you don't want the agent to do all this like planning type of work, that's where the fast mode comes in.
Yep. And you can just have it say continue too if it gets stuck. Yeah, I've also really liked the task list that it generates too when it's already starting on the implementation. I find that the model just stays on track a lot better and can be doing this in kind of individual parallel subtasks. And it's just been super
so one thing I'm maybe concluding here, I don't think planning mode is maybe that great with just like, run the app, please. It's like making a plan for how to run the app
Yeah. So it'd be yeah. I wouldn't use it for that, but that's
pretty funny.
So you could say like a good thing for like planning mode would be like, I want to use routing and have this type of a feature first folder structure, and I want to have these models and blah blah blah, and like it would like plan that all out as like a kind of mini PRD, and then create subtasks to like go and like implement that. But the cool part is you can comment and be like, oh, instead of Go router, use this one instead, or use this for state management and stuff like that. So you can kind of like guide the model what your preferences are, and then hopefully save those as rules files for the future.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. So I definitely want to do exactly that. I just can't help but continue to appreciate how funny this is. The app has been launched for like 3 minutes, and it finally decided that it did it and checked it off. That's just very job, funny. Yeah. Well done there. You deserve a cookie there. You're the best boy, Gemini. All right. So I think it would be fun to, I want to see, to take a big step back since Gemini CLI arrived, and even Gemini Code Assist before that. Periodically on this live stream, I've tried to lean really heavily into AI for a specific project, and even had Randall, one of our Flutter GDEs, on twice to work through this concept of having the LLM start with a PRD and whatnot. And at that point, it was really a roll your own experience to, you could just say like, burp up all this code for me, please. Or you could be more thoughtful and start with a plan and then turn that into a PRD and implementation steps and whatnot. Sounds like this experience of doing that is now basically just baked into selecting planning out of the dropdown here. So I do want to see that work and kind of see what the UI looks like, although we're getting a bit of a preview here. I'll close this for now. So I was thinking maybe we could ask this to build on this, and maybe we use state management to like store the history of colors and have a back button to kind of go back through history and see what random colors we had before.
Or not even maybe something more complicated, like add, undo, redo for individual screens, and then be able to use routing to store kind of a list of those pages.
Yeah, that's basically undo would be go back, redo would be go forward in the stack. Yeah, we're totally thinking the same way there. So I'm gonna start typing, and I want you to interrupt when you have a better idea of how to prompt it for what I'm saying. Sound good?
Perfect.
All right. Like interrupt immediately. Don't say please.
Yeah. And also, like, feel free in chat, to give us any ideas on what to tweak as we go to.
Do I even need to say, please create a plan? Like, actually, how do I prompt this?
Just put it in planning mode and say, like, I want to now use like a feature folder architecture with routing, and I want to have like undo, like list like what the goals are. And it'll create a plan from that, and it'll say like, it'll hopefully have you review that plan, and then you can't go forward.
All right, so I want routing. I'm just going to put routing, and we'll see what it comes up with. State, like a state management package, and history for what colors have been generated. And then I want to be able to revisit old, like previous colors.
Also, maybe an ability to add a custom color or something. That's maybe something I would take input.
Oh, sure. Yeah. The ability to add a custom color instead of only generating random colors. We got a question from chat here. Folks may know. Emma asks, is it true that saying please makes it better? This has been rumored for years at this point.
We could try. We could ask, say please, please, please. Maybe ask more. Just makes it
I beg you.
One thing before we
see.
proceed, could we check what the settings are right now for our artifact review policy? And the reason why I ask is because I want to make sure that the agent takes the time and asks for your input. The way to get there is you can press on the anti-gravity settings, and then yes. So right now, review policy says agent decides. Let's change that to always be request review. And the reason why is because now when it creates the implementation plan, maybe it thinks it's straightforward, but you know what? Just for the sake of like showing off what it's able to do, I think it'd be really great for us to see the plan, review it, being able to add comments, and then being like, hey, LGTM, let's go ahead and build this.
Also, you may want to kind of start with this mode as you build up confidence with anti-gravity and like kind of switch to those more deciding modes later as you can kind of trust where it's going.
Mm-hmm. This is an interesting question. I haven't seen this feature, but it seems actually quite reasonable. Like, I've given you this really lazy prompt. Can you improve the prompt for me? Which is got to be the peak laziest thing in the world. But is that a thing, or is Randall making that up?
This is not a thing, but what you could do as a shortcut to that is you could write a simple prompt, and then you can ask it, enhance this prompt for me, please. And then the agent will just enhance the prompt for you, most likely. And it maybe will also propose other features. And then if you want, you could just copy that and then be like, yeah, let's do exactly that.
That's also where I think the implementation is really nice, though. It'll take this and kind of already start to enhance that because it'll list out its thinking and all that.
Yeah. I wonder. I mean, that's kind of what we were already doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Planning mode. So this might be redundant. Let's just go with asking it to plan this out.
Mm-hmm.
Although we've started it. One of you said that maybe it would come up with its own features as well, and I can imagine it really getting creative on new features in the please enhance this prompt style.
One of the things that I've usually done when I'm sending prompts to the model when I'm starting off like a bigger task like this is I usually always suffix my prompts with like come up with a plan and get started to try to trigger like thinking through the process of like what it's going to do and then building out the plan. But that's like one of the things that anti-gravity just kind of does for you if you're in planning mode. So I found I didn't have to use that as much.
Nice. Oh boy, we're getting a lot of proposed screens and classes in here. It's going to Flutter River Pod. That is.
And so, do you have an option to select the implementation?
All right. So yeah, it popped it up.
Okay. Now do you
this
see
little like GIF here. I can dismiss this. Is that what's going on? Okay, good.
Yes.
I didn't see the dismiss button below it.
So as you start to hover, do you see that little blue icon? That is the comment button. So you can like comment on any one of these items in here and like give it your preferences on what to use.
Nice. Also, so that's awesome. And okay, cool. I see that.
And you probably should because it doesn't stop the flow. It'll take your input and just constantly modify as it's building. So you can give it like this live input and guide it as it's generating.
Mm-hmm.
Also, this is the subtlest little thing, but there's obviously some styling on this markdown, and I just find this to be very pleasant. So whoever did that, wonderful. Okay, let's skim this. So refactor a single thing to be more over-engineered. Great. User review required. Yeah, obviously using RiverPod for state management and GoRouter for routing. Flex color picker. That's great. Then it's going to use those packages. Great. Wow, it even wants to add localization. Love it. So we've got feature-based stuff here. The color generator, history. I can't tell if this is like clipping because there's so much under color generator and nothing under history. It's definitely gone with the clean architecture model of like
you can comment on that and say I want a feature first folder.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want.
So yeah, just literally like right there.
You can also select if you want to be highly specific. You can also just drag and select text that you'd want to comment on. So you always have those two options, whether you just want to comment on a line or you can just comment on the text that you have selected.
I'm giving it a really like confusing, lazy message here. I want to see how it now is it automatically incorporating this, or do I need to, like, I don't want to say proceed on the whole thing, but I do want it to proceed on taking this comment. So what do I do for that?
So you have a couple of options here. You can maybe just click on the review button and then here add an optional message and click submit. Or if you want to go back to what you all are used to, you can also do that inside of the prompt box inside of at the bottom right to submit the comment. And as you can see, the comment is already attached to your input box.
Yeah, this is like a GitHub code review where you can leave a bunch of things and then submit them all at once. All right, so I'm going to lean into that. Let's see if we have any other suggestions here. Controller manages current. Sure, that seems reasonable. Routing. Yeah, the history screen. So, okay, I'm going to put another thing here. Like, I want a navigation stack that goes backwards through chosen colors, not just one screen that lists all past colors.
And it's way cheaper and faster to make decisions here than it is later. So definitely make sure to get this implementation how you want.
Oh, right. Yeah, once it's written all the code and I'm like, boo, then I've wasted a whole bunch of, my own
tokens and
my own bill, right? Okay, so display, blah, 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 generate, color. Okay, that seems reasonable. History. So remember that this is a history stack. I forget, kind of a navigation stack, like history,
right? Or change stack.
Yeah, undo, redo stack.
Yeah,
not just one page. Yeah. Perfect. Custom color. Yeah. Verification plan. Well, one day we're going to see this run in the browser and it's going to be awesome. So yeah, submit.
I don't know why. I just think it's really cool to see like when it's submitted and you see like the count of comments that it reads and like the context. It's so every point in this editor, it's like it's giving you confidence that it's like reading the right type of things. So yeah, it's super cool.
I love the idea of putting make no mistakes at the end of any prompt. And also like do a good job. Let's see. Skimming chat here while it cooks to see other questions. Folks, normally I read a much higher percentage of chat messages, so I apologize for that on this. I am trying to read as many as possible. Randall apparently had some genius idea earlier. Let's see what he said before. Oh, that was the enhance the prompt thing. Okay, great. We talked about that. Danny is the maintainer of the Flutter and Dart VS Code extension, which I presume is the same one used in Cursor and Antigravity and all of them. Mm-hmm. So Danny is asking, where's the best place to send feedback?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great question. The best way to send feedback right now is if you open the settings window, there is a place where you can, so open Antigravity user settings, and on the bottom left, there is a provide feedback section. And this is where you can just provide any type of feedback that you have. Make sure you submit that. I think the dev team would be very happy to see this in the feedback form.
Great, I'm putting it in. It's not really a bug report. I guess it's just general feedback.
Yeah, and this...
Yeah, it's me.
And the nice thing about this is that it has all the labels needed, so we can just have it be a lot more organized, and that way we can just get to your feedback as soon as possible. As you can imagine, we're getting a ton of feedback, so it's really nice to have it like organized so that we know exactly like, okay, like these are the ones for features, these are the ones for bugs, and how we can prioritize that to make your developer experience better.
All right, so this must be just kind of representative because we lost history entirely, but I trust that it's still going to add that. No, it's kind of dropped. Oh, maybe the navigation is just going to, be baked in. So it's not really its own feature anymore. All right, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Maybe the color controller is just going to have that now. Yeah, we'll see what it does. Okay, I'm going to say proceed. I'm ready to roll the dice.
Do we need to change the editor settings to make it to agent decides, or will it request each time?
Now it's going to request each time, but you can always go back to the settings to change it back to agent decides, or right below the proceeded with implementation plan, there's a shortcut where you can click on request review on the right side, and there's a drop down where you can just configure it for your entire user settings.
Oh, so this is not just for this conversation. This is a global change.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right. Well, let's put it on agent decides because that's what I want. All right. Going back to chat here. Ooh, every now and then this is another form of rolling the dice where I just see a long message. The first few words seem reasonable and I click it without reading the whole thing. Here we go. Missed the start of the stream. Will there be a Flutter sub-agent support for Antigravity to see into actually running Flutter apps in a simulator? Actually, this is kind of related because we're about to run it in the web app, the browser, and see it drive there. But yeah, any connection with simulators? I imagine that's maybe a bigger challenge.
So right now, there's the DevTools like MCP server control for browser specifically, and that uses like Chrome DevTools, like deeply integrated. But we as Flutter developers can also take advantage of the Flutter driver, where it can start to write and run integration tests and smoke tests on these like kind of different things. It can like write a specific test to instrument what you're trying to do. And that would give you a lot better results because you'd have the access to LSP and all the logs.
That makes sense. Yeah. So of course that's running through an MCP browser server. That makes sense. Before I was at Google, I was at Zapier, which is kind of like, it's the connective tissue of the internet. You can have the outputs from one service be the inputs to another service. And it just provides this standardized kind of like pub sub for the whole internet. And of course, MCP is that on your computer for all the different things. So of course that runs through an MCP server.
And it's also like really deep control. Like it can have specific logs from V8 directly as opposed to just like high level ones.
All right, let's see. Do we have, we got some red here. So that means code. All right, so this code was waiting for me to accept it, which of course was possible because we put it on agent decides and it decided that I needed to accept this or not. But other than seeing that there was some red here and thus deducing that it had written code, like let's say I was just sitting back here and I didn't open this file myself and I'm just kind of waiting. What is the intended flow for me to interact with the progress that it is making?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think it's something that we've been trying to figure out what's the best way for a developer. I think when you're looking at the conversation, that is like one way you could be spending your time, which is just tracking and seeing what is the work that it's doing so that you always have the ability to course correct as needed. There's also, if you want to review the current changes that it's currently done, there's the review changes button, which is right above the stop button on the bottom right. It's a little less visible, but yes, that's the place where you can review the code changes if you care about all the code that it's written. Otherwise, I think it's more of like hey, you could just sit back, relax, and let the agent cook. And from there, once it's done, it'll give you a walkthrough of everything. And then that way, you get a summarized version of all of the work that it's done. So as you can see right now, because the agent is still running, you don't have that walkthrough yet. And that's because, it's still working. But once it is done, it will create a walkthrough of everything and a screenshots of the web app that you just built.
This could also be where you open up Command E, go to a different project while it's doing this, and you'd get notified when it's finished. So like that's where the async manager would really start to come into play. Like sometimes it could take a while to build the iOS and Android application, and so you could be like on a different task, and
that'll really, that will stress test my ability to think about two things at once. Like, the bottleneck is me.
You're single threaded, so yeah.
Right, exactly. All right, let's see what it came up with here. So, oh man, that's great. Now I don't know how it's going to handle kind of like forks in the nav history. So Orange
also
was in
did
front of
a
us.
custom color picker on the top right.
Oh yeah. So if I go back in time and then generate a new random color, we lose the history in front of it. That makes sense. I was wondering how I was going to handle that edge case. And then we'll pick a custom color, as you said. Oh my goodness gracious. Look at this.
Yeah, that's cool.
Now I was kind of expecting the like color wheel,
I'm
but
sure that'd be an option you could refine later. But yeah, it's
oh, that's a hefty color there. That's really limey.
I do feel like this is just like a good example of something that already looks better, by default. Gemini 3 is, I feel like, a lot better at UI design and also just like more technically deep.
Yeah, this is obviously we got to ship this. This is like a great startup idea. All right, I want to see, you mentioned the walkthrough, and just such a file, literally labeled walkthrough, has appeared. So this is presumably the beginning of the answer to my next queued question, which was, how do I look at the walkthrough? So let's see what it said. It believes, and I agree, that it has successfully refactored the application in the requested way. The code is organized by feature color rather than by layer. Wonderful. Use RiverPod, Go Router, and it generates random colors. I saw that. It did it. It has the history. Awesome. Yep, generating a new color clears the forward history. Standard behavior. Yep. As witnessed by us. It's got the picker. Yeah, wasn't what I was expecting. Maybe we'll come back and ask it to give us a color wheel, or maybe that's not actually that important for the purposes of this stream. So verification, right. Our whole original thing, my original question was like, to what extent can it kind of put on its Selenium hat and drive the UI and verify these things itself? I clicked buttons and I verified it, but did it do that?
It didn't seem to do it this time, but what if we just ask it explicitly, can you test this out for me?
Okay, I love that idea.
Do
Oh,
you
wait,
need
there's
to
another
say,
window.
do you tag the workflow, or should you just like give it a shorter task?
I think you could just say like, hey, can you use the browser and test it out for me?
And we had two open, so I'm going to close them both. Now, review changes, they're highlighted still in the get diff thing, even though
That's
I
okay.
accept all.
Yeah, those are ephemeral
Close,
changes.
yeah.
You can do those later. Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to close all these things. Actually, don't really care about any of this for now. Oh, nice. Great. Yeah, verify is checked. Interesting. I want to watch that happen, though. So, yeah, please verify. What was the wording that you were saying? Like, verify this works?
I was saying just like, hey, can you use the browser to verify if this works?
Use the browser to verify that this works. One day I'm going to learn how to type. But today is not that day. All right. Oh, man, it's given us the process ID. Well, that's just thoughtful.
You can also think about like how many times you're building an app and you have a specific CUJ in mind, where you could like tell it to like test out this flow on your application and to see how it works. It's kind of like a mix between testing and then also debugging, because if it's getting caught up on something, maybe there's something you could simplify or improve there.
Oh, so I think what is going on here is that the agent is trying to decide between using the Dart MCP server versus the browser. And so that's why a lot of the browser integration is not working as expected. Or at least not, sorry, it is working as expected, but it's more so the agent is a bit more confused as to which type of tool it should be using. So I think that because the MCP server for the Dart probably also carries like I am also a browser that you can use. It is a bit more, it is always relying on the MCP, which is why in this case it did not actually leverage the browser.
Maybe we could say take a screenshot.
Oh, actually, here, this is I spoke
Seems
too
promising.
soon, actually. Yeah, let's try this out. Let's try setting up the browser.
All right, moving my cursor off the window. Cursor is over here.
Oh, and then
Oh, yeah.
you do need to do a first time installation process, and it's going to ask you to sign in and to install a Chrome extension. So if you don't have the Chrome extension, unfortunately, the browser integration will not work.
All right, I'm going to do this off screen,
Yeah.
which is a lesson that it's also, it's like I'm signing into the empty Chrome. Oh, where's my phone? I'm going to do the QR code. Or a pass key.
While he's doing that, Andy, another cool little piece of UX I really liked in the chat is the inline terminal that you can even work with interactive commands. I thought that was such a cool touch.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think that the team has put a lot of thought into this, and I think that one of the biggest challenges I remember we faced was the fact that the terminals sometimes it requires you to interact with it. One of the cool things that we recently added is that the agent is also able to just send things that things into the terminal so they can interact with it for you. So example, if you're trying to create a new app and it's like, would you like to use this or that? Instead of having to like open the terminal, press enter, the agent's like, I'm just gonna press enter for you. And that really just like drives this whole like agent is able to control everything for you. Or if you want to take it over, like be our guest and just go for it.
Last night I had it was working with Docker Compose, and so it would be like spinning up and down containers, and I found that it would want to check the logs, so it would open up, spin up the containers, run a shell command inside of it, wait a couple seconds, kill the container, and like it was just such a cool like autonomous agent kind of running in the background, which is awesome.
Yeah, when we first put out terminals and like I saw I was running all these things, I was like, wow, like this is increasingly like so cool because it's just like managing all these things that I don't have to constantly open the terminal myself and do those things anymore. And that way, like you as a developer, you're gonna spend more time thinking about like, hey, like what do I want to build? Does this look good or not? Should I add comments and course correct it even further?
Oh yeah, totally. Is there any
sign-in
is
it working?
Oh, it's not working.
Which is a pass key like Google app. It just is looping through a UX like recursive bit of nonsense.
Oh, no.
So unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to watch it drive the browser. But I believe that it could be done. Maybe my passkey is only half set up or something. I don't know.
But anyways, it would install the Chrome extension, and really it's there to make sure that you have the Chrome APIs available to that browser, but you should only have to do it once.
Let's see. A couple other questions here. Is there a code dot command for Gravity? I think what Flutter Universe here is asking is how you can say, code space a thing and it'll open that in VS Code. And it's AGY and it self-installs when you download AGY. And if you're asking something else, then please clarify.
Yeah, is AGY the terminal command for that?
I believe
yes.
Okay.
Okay, continuing to read. There's some debate on whether or not it should be shortened to Anti or Grav, and we got at least one vote for Grav in colloquial conversation. Another vote for Grav. I think these folks may have an uphill battle to climb, but I wish you well in your quest to, make fetch happen.
Maybe something that people could try if they're downloading Antigravity for the first time and want to try the async manager is to pick a package you're working on and open up the example as its own sub project, because it will have an application open that is specific for, consuming the package. And you can send tasks that are like to the main package of like, I want to add this feature. And then in your example, you say like, I want to update the UI to match this feature, and they can be working in parallel. And while you could do that from a single repo, it could allow you to start to experiment and see like how you could use these as completely separate processes.
Yeah, I was thinking about that exact scenario the other day of, getting around my, oh, poor thing. It's still trying to talk to the browser. I'm going to have to say deny. Sorry, I tried. Feeling bad
Can't do
for
this
it.
task.
Yeah, it's trying so hard. Oh, and we got a walkthrough of the attempted thing, what it would have done if I hadn't been the weak link in the chain. Yeah, having like a full stack application, and one browser is working on, maybe you use the planning step first to define the exact schema and everything, the communication protocol for how the front and back end are going to talk to each other, and then unleash one agent to work on the front end and one to work on the back end. That's probably the limit of where I can imagine my brain keeping up with multiple things running concurrently, but who knows? So we could look at all the code that it wrote. Most episodes on this live stream are in fact about Flutter code. This one less so. Also, the app did seem to work pretty well. So I don't think we really need to spend time nitpicking what it wrote. It probably does also just seem to be fine. That's also really a Gemini thing and not even an AGY matter. So any thoughts from either of you two about where we might go next, or should we take questions from chat? What are you thinking?
I have something I'd love to try out. This has been something that, like, while I was testing out Antigravity, I was kind of blown away because I was recording some demo videos, and I was thinking like, oh, like, wouldn't it be cool if like I designed like a concept restaurant and I called it like Maison Antigravity, and like and then they had all these like futuristic dishes, and I spun it up, and then I ran into a little hiccup, because it was still in development and none of the images were loading, but it had the website and everything set up. So I was like, okay, like, can you fix this for me? And I thought it would try to point to some like online like images, but then it started generating images, and that's when I realized, oh, like, we are at Google, like we have Nana Banana, and at that point I was like, oh, okay, like it started generating futuristic dishes for me, and then using the terminal to move all those images into the appropriate folders. And then afterwards I had a website with really, really cool dishes. Like, it had like, one of the dishes was called like quantum carpaccio, and I was like, that sounds really good. And so I think that would be it sounds very futuristic to me. So I'm thinking like, oh, okay, like this sounds like a really, really killer use case, especially with its ability to generate image. Like, given that we are building a web app, like why don't we try out something where see if it's able to generate an image, and see if it's able to like I don't know, let's say our goal here is to extract like the most popular colors inside of an image that generated. So
I was also going to think a very common thing for Flutter is generating app icons and generating the favicons and image assets in the web folder, which, it generates a default when you do Flutter create. But that's my favorite use case for Nano Banana, is like, now generate a fun icon for this app as well.
Totally. Yeah, that's a great idea. And because it's just baked into the product that has access to your code, you don't have to do one place, drag it over, but instead the agent will just take care of all of it for you.
Yep, totally.
The caps lock really helps.
Also, muting myself also really helps. Yeah. Generate now really impressed me. Here we go. It's not an observable Flutter if I don't talk while muted at least twice. Nice. It's like lumps in your mashed potatoes. That's another homemade. All right, I'm curious to see what comes up here.
Have had it generate images with Nano Banana, run terminal commands, so then like format and splice up the image to fit into the asset folders of macOS, iOS, Android, and all that. And so like it can basically like generate that for 50 plus images from a single one.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I've always used there's a Flutter plugin that kind of does all the copying and resizing and whatnot for you. I hadn't thought about burning way more electricity to have an LLM do it.
Yeah. Well, it runs it uses Nano Banana once to create a high resolution image, and then just like image quicker, like terminal commands to then splice it. And
So, Andy, you were talking about an interesting thing there, and where I thought you were going to go. Oh my goodness, what a
Whoa.
favicon! Great. So that's super great. It even did something that approximates a squircle. I wonder if it actually got the math right on a squircle. I mean, it looks pretty squircely. So, did it put this in the what is it? Web favicon.ping. It did not do that yet. So place
It first
that.
generates the image, and then I think it's still generating.
Oh, it's still doing stuff.
Yeah, so it's probably still doing some work. And okay, so now it generates the image, but it does not know where exactly it should put it. So I think that at this point, you can ask it, just tell it like, hey, love this image. Actually, one cool thing that I'd love to show off before we do that, I think you might be able to click on the image here.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can actually review on it. So maybe if you want to say can you add a face of a dog in the middle?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's incredible. Okay, yeah. Well, obviously, I want a face of a dog in the middle. So, add the face
make it better.
of a husky. Okay, I was going to tell it that I loved it, but now that you've informed me I could have a husky for no reason at all in the middle of this. So while it does this, honestly, it was a cool image, and we're going to ruin it with this husky in the middle. But what you were talking about with the futuristic restaurant and the quantum gazpacho or whatever it was, the images that didn't load, what I imagined was going on is I thought you were going to talk about cores and having it engineer some solution to a cores problem, which is, of course, the bane of everyone's existence. So there was a thing that you said you wanted to try, but where your story went, oh man, this is not better. Oh, now it's hiding it.
I mean, it's not wrong.
It's what I asked. Yeah. Great. Now with 100% more husky, please apply this. The other one was objectively better. What was I? Oh yeah. So your story started with there's something I want to try, and then you told us about the restaurant. But the story ended with it seeming like you getting everything working. So what was the thing that you wanted to try, and can we still try it?
So yeah, what I was trying to do is I was trying to create a very, very simple website. I wanted a website. I wanted the agent to be very creative, and Gemini to create the designers of the website, the copy for the website, and then also create an entire menu for the website, meaning it had to come up with a dish name and all of the ingredients. And a lot of it was obviously anti-gravity themed. So we got all that stuff working. Oh, look at that.
Let's go.
Nice. Okay, sorry, keep going.
And now you have a husky icon. So that's what I was trying to do. And then the images just weren't working. And I never, because I was mostly vibe coding, I wasn't looking specifically at what kind of errors there were, whether it was cores or whether it was pointing at fake URLs. And agents make mistakes. That's completely okay. But that's kind of what we're here for, just to make sure that, we can make sure it's doing a good job. And so in this case, I said hey, this is the problem. Or I think I remember I interrupted the agent because I was like, okay, I think you're going off track. I have a busy day. This is the problem I want you to solve right now. Go fix the images. And it immediately course corrected. And it's like, all right, let me go ahead and generate images for you instead of pointing to incorrect places. And then immediately it just generated 6 images all at the same time. And I was like, whoa, not only was it able to generate images, but it was doing all this in parallel.
Mm-hmm.
So it was being as fast as possible with it. And then immediately after, it went ahead and ran some internal commands, moved all of them to the relevant directory, and then integrated it with my application. And at that point, I was like, oh, wow, it just corrected what I pointed out immediately. So that's definitely something we could try as well over here if we want to test out further image generation. So Yeah, that's basically like how I went end to end with and ran into this use case, which is really cool.
Oh, maybe there's also we could add documentation comments and tests, because that also could show the feedback loop there of the testing as well.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great idea. Let's get some tests going here. Danny, know that the favicon is all yours. I'll email it to you if you're interested. Also, it was very cheap to generate, and you could probably ask Nano Banana to make it yourself. But
also, Andy, I really liked your comment on the just like having the idea for Nano Banana, because I feel like that's been the whole vibe of anti-gravity in general. Is like I feel like it's bringing like the best of all of Google's tools in like one place, and we're trying to have an experience where we're just trying to like reduce friction and enable people to go faster, and like hopefully even expose people to all the things that we even have at our disposal too.
Mm-hmm. Totally. I think we're at the best place to kind of like tie all these powerful tools together. There's just so many powerful things. And it's very exciting to see, like, obviously the power of each one individually.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like a really, really good example where the total, or what's that expression? You guys know what I'm trying to say, right? Like the total is better than the sum of the parts. And I think that this is a really great example of that, where you like combine Flutter, you combine that with Nano Banana and a lot of your ideas inside of this amazing tool.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly you're able to just like go crazy with your imagination and just let the agent cook.
Oh, totally. Like last night I had it running with Golang and Postgres and a Flutter front end all running together in the same project. Like you can really like mix and match, and it works really great.
Mm-hmm.
Good to see you, Astra. Yeah, Atlas is my husky. Even folks who didn't know I had a husky probably could have guessed it based on the very specific dog selection. Okay, well, there are so many good questions in chat. I've been trying to star them all. I've got 10 starred, which is a tiny percentage of the great questions and comments that deserved being starred. Oh, yeah. So we wanted to watch it run tests, so I'm going to keep that going by, yeah, sure, whatever. Clicking accept, because I do want to see that feedback loop. But then maybe we can get to some questions as well, as we're coming up on the last few minutes here.
Real quick, Andy, can you open up multiple chats with the same project folder? I haven't actually tested that specifically, but would it like show up as multiple things in the agent manager?
Yeah, you could. It's very like end to end. You could just have like as many conversations in the same workspace. You can also have like many different workspaces, each with many different conversations. So really, it's like all of that flexibility is baked in already.
Sweet, many to many.
Yeah, great question.
Icon is missing the caption. POV, you're the favorite toy in the washing machine. That is the vibe of that icon. Okay, so did it run the tests? I can't tell if it ran the tests. It wrote the tests. Oh, and it says they're all passing. I want to see that terminal output. Also, you guys were talking in the very beginning about copying terminal, piping terminal output from somewhere to another place, and I still don't know what that feature is.
Control tilde to open up your terminal.
Okay. That didn't do what I was expecting.
Yeah, the control escape basically, or at least on my keyboard.
Yeah, you have it open now.
All right, well, I'll just do this.
There we go. Yeah.
I
have, by the way, Sublime Text keyboard shortcut, so that's probably.
Oh, okay. So like maybe just cat the README, for example.
Like literally, I say cat README.
Yeah. Cat space README or whatever the. Okay,
Yep.
And so you can do two different things. You can like select a region, and it should pop up like a little chat thing.
Oh, interesting.
Right there.
Oh.
And that'll send a chat. Or inside of the chat itself, you can use the @ annotation and then type terminal, and it'll select that as well.
Oh, so if it gave me a command, so like, let's see here. This seems to be
that's an inline terminal, yeah.
Okay, so where would I do the @ command?
So inside the very bottom on the chat.
Down here.
Yeah, you can just do
And I'm familiar with doing this with files and whatnot, but where? Oh, terminal.
And terminal is one. And if you just click terminal, and then if you have multiple terminal tasks, you can pick it by name. So if
I were to say, Oh, okay. So if I were to say here, run the tests, is what's going to happen? It's going to say Dart or like Flutter test here.
No, it would be like you would say like at terminal, here's the output logs of the error, something like that. You could have it and it would pull in the terminal as context.
I see. Okay, great.
Instead
That's
of having
cool.
to copy it.
Yeah, nice. All right, neat. I'm trying to think of a non-contrived way to do that. We know the tests are currently passing. Maybe I'll just break a test and then we'll run it and they'll fail and I'll ask it to fix it. That might be kind of fun.
So you could say like, you can even prompt it to say like run Flutter test in the terminal, and it would pop up, or you could just run it yourself even as well.
This is funny. It's showing all the tests for a different workspace.
Nice.
Oh, I'm in that workspace. How did I get to that window? Okay, well, never mind. It is absolved from having. It's always pebcac. I don't know if anyone else here familiar with the phrase pebcac. Problem exists between keyboard and chair. That is the always the explanation. Yeah. Okay, so let's say Dart test. Or I mean Flutter test. I needed to run. This is not going to work. Is it going to just proxy to Flutter test? I've never run Dart test in a Flutter project before. I would presume it isn't going to work.
But actually, if it doesn't, that's a good way to find out why.
Great point. Yeah, terminal.
Why is this test failing or
test
whatever?
failed? Perfect. Yeah, that's such a good example. See if it can be like, well, you ran the wrong command, idiot.
Yeah. It was such a cool feeling, like realizing like, oh, I don't have to copy these errors anymore.
Yeah. Okay, so wait, it said a bunch of stuff. What did it say? Dart test. Yeah, users' use of Dart test could be the root cause. Could be, indeed. All right, that's awesome. That's super cool. We saw it work. I typed at terminal, why did it fail? And it ran Flutter test instead. So cool. That's awesome. All right, there's a lot of good chats, and I think the time has arrived to actually read them. So, picnic, problem in chair, not in computer. I presume that in computer was not intended to be capitalized. Yeah. That's a good one. Okay, so again, I'm sorry, I've definitely failed to highlights or to star so many chats that deserved being starred, but I'm going to go through the ones that I did catch. Noe asked quite some time ago, no idea if he's still here. Do we know if the Firebase extension works in Antigravity?
Yeah, you should be able to install the Firebase MCP server as well as some other Firebase extensions.
Wonderful. Flutter Universe tends to be quite plugged in based on chats over the years on Observable Flutter, but maybe the last person on this stream to learn about Nano Banana. So Flutter Universe, Nano Banana it's basically just the code name for Imogen, right?
Yeah, it's a fun, I would say, Google's had image generation for a while, but the thing that Nano Banana specifically did was bring image generation down in cost and time. So you can generate images really quickly and the quality is really great. It can do text inside of images, and you can generate multiple. It's embedded in lots of different experiences. So definitely check it out.
And you can give it's like multimodal inputs too.
In and out. Yeah. You can do edits as well. Like, that was the big use case is you could upload an image and say like, remove this and stuff like that.
Or you could upload an image of yourself and then upload an image of a place. Yep. And then say, put me in this scene and make it a cartoon, all the fun things.
Right. And speaking of Nano Banana, today Google also just launched Nano Banana Pro.
Yes.
And I've seen some examples of it, and it is mind-blowing.
It really is.
And it's also integrated with the Antigravity as well, so definitely worth checking out.
Yep.
So is the Pro, it's not like limits, it's the next tier of capability.
The coolest demo I saw was like a comic strip, so...
I have been wondering, for people who maybe are storytellers but not artists, the trouble with, or I imagine the challenge of someone who maybe wants to produce a comic strip because they have the story in their head and that's the medium they want, but they're not an artist, is like, all the details of every scene need to be just right, and kind of getting that and specifying it would be very challenging.
Well,
Cool.
specifically
That's possible.
with Nano Banana Pro, you can say, like, it can provide that reasoning. He's like, explain this to me in like 5 different things, and it like takes something, breaks it down into subtasks, and then like has generating text in each of those sub blocks. So it's like something that like normal Nano Banana would have struggled with, but like it did a great job.
Whoa, interesting. Get your philosophy hats ready. My daughter in primary school has to create a classic web page with HTML and CSS. Do you think that is still relevant? Well, Marcin, if that isn't the billion-dollar, trillion-dollar question of our time, I certainly have my thoughts on it. But yeah, Rody and Andy, how do you two think about that these days?
I personally think that there is no better time to learn how to publish and share things with the world. HTML and CSS was even how I started back in high school, like trying to just like build something on GeoCities, you know. But now what we do is we have like these amazing tools at our disposal to like build and craft anything that we can imagine. There's a huge spectrum between like programming and engineering all the way to just like producing artifacts, and whether it's just a one-off thing that you're building for yourself or your kids, or, you know, just like that brings you delight, or like building businesses on top of it. And so, yeah, I think it's a great way to learn. I also think that HTML and CSS and JavaScript specifically help you by not crashing when you put in an error or like a invalid token, and it's a great way to like kind of express your ideas.
Yeah, I think I couldn't have said it better. I think Rody nailed the point. It's just very, very useful to learn, and it goes a very long way. I also think that having the ability to or knowing how to use HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and so much more technologies also gives you the vocabulary and understanding to just take your ideas to the next level by understanding a bit of the technology. And so I definitely still recommend learning those core technologies. Oh, muted.
Oh, you're also muted again.
Oh. Yeah.
Nice. Another lump. The only thing I would add to also, God bless you two for telling me right away. To all of us, you know, Marcin's daughter, everybody else, if you find the task of thinking about and understanding a certain piece of code fun, you know, HTML and CSS in that example message, don't let the ability of an LLM to have written it for you stop you from learning it and understanding it and just having that human experience of the euphoric, like, I know how this works, and it, you know, I executed it correctly and I implemented it and I could fix it if I needed to. If she's enjoying HTML and CSS, I would absolutely encourage her to keep going in that direction. But nobody loves every part of technology. Like, I've been a web developer for 15 years. When you start getting into the operating system level and like really low build system stuff, I'm out. I just don't care. And so there, I very happily let these tools kind of pick up, you know, the baton at that point for me, because that is just not what makes me happy. It is not why I got into this and stayed in this. And so I would still for all of us, let your just kind of humanity and your curiosity and what sparks joy, you know, still pursue those things.
Totally.
That's my thinking.
I also think even along that same vein is like use what you do know and combine it with the LLM to help you learn something you don't know. So like when I have been learning C recently, just like native built-in C without C++, I would write a function in Dart, and I'm like, can you explain this to me if it was written in C or assembly or some other language that I don't know? And like being able to see a language that I can read, like in Dart or JavaScript or Go, can start to help you like see multiple examples and help you bridge that gap. And the LLMs are really great at that.
At the end of the day,
100%.
LLMs are not only for building, they're also for learning. They're honestly probably one of the best tools for learning. So
100%.
Absolutely. A while ago, a couple years ago, I had a project on the Flutter team where I had to learn and write some C. Didn't really enjoy that project, but Gemini was called Bard at the time, and it was my C mentor, and it was so much nicer. I'd just be like, I know I need a thing. I need to like copy a pointer of a string and add the thing to it, and I need to not leak memory, and I don't want to become an expert at this. Please write me that C snippet, and then I would take the time and read it. I'm like, okay, I see how that works. It's so nice,
or
nice.
things like Dart FFI. It's been really useful.
Yes. Yeah. Let's see. Feature request here. Majid, we saw how to submit feedback, so I invite you to submit this feedback. But yeah, a direct Stitch integration, excellent idea.
So you could do that already with the Stitch MCP server that you could add.
Brilliant. I didn't know Stitch had an MCP server, but of course it does. At this point, I should just assume every single entity in the universe has an MCP server. Another call out here for Figma design. Now, there is a Flutter to Figma MCP server, and I actually had the maintainer of it on Observable Flutter, I don't know, however long ago. You can find it in the history. And that MCP server is awesome. So you could certainly get that going. I don't know if there's anything specific.
And Figma should have an MCP server too.
For sure. I don't remember if theirs basically depends on the Figma MCP server. I mean, it would make sense that it did. So I would maybe consider this one just a checked box, and it's a really good flow. Like I was blown away by, in this episode, all of our ability, because we can all install these tools, to just be like, this component in Figma, give me the dark code, and it was really accurate. It was super good.
But you could also use browser use there too. You could say like, here's the Figma design project that I have open up the browser, go to this component, take a screenshot, and implement that.
All right, I'm scrolling through the last chat messages because I got to the end of the ones that I starred. So reading what people have said while I had the starred list up. Actually, someone else was just asking about MCP. Actually, I think it was the same person asking me again, which is fine. And I did show how to use it in that episode that I was just talking about. All right. I think we have kind of done it. Any final thoughts, Rody?
Show them a link to where to find it.
Oh yeah, links are always hard. But you two start sharing some final thoughts, and I'll pull that up.
Cool. Yeah, Andy.
This has been really, really fun. I think that Antigravity is both a joy to build and to use. It packages all of the things that Google has, the really cool like browser integration with Chrome, as well as Nana, Banana, Gemini 3, and so much more. And I hope everybody who uses it has as much joy using it as I did, both building it and using it on my own free time. Rody?
Yeah, I really like having all of the Google parts coming together in one awesome engine. And on top of that, it's really kind of refreshing to be able to start to experiment with the async manager of like, now I can think it like a 10,000 foot view across my entire machine. And like, here are all my projects, and like, some tasks I may kick off, but not review for 3 days from now. And now I can be like working and keeping on task, or, iterating a lot better than you would, instead of having to just like open up VS Code, like, and the chat history goes away, or even if it's persisted. This kind of like lets you really stay focused and intentional about what you want to work on and what you want to improve over time. Not only that, like, I feel like there is just so much to improve from here. Like, hopefully this is the worst version of Antigravity ever, and it gets so
it
much
will
better.
be.
Yeah.
We can promise that.
Yeah.
That reminds me, one of my biggest pet peeves ever is every time the fruit company announces new hardware and they're like, this is the best iPhone we've ever made. Like, no, duh. You mean you didn't make the last year's one worse? Like, of course it's the best one you've ever made. All right, I've got maybe the least helpful banner that anyone has ever seen. This is where you find the MCP server guide, and no one wants to type in the URL. So just search in YouTube for Observable Flutter Observable Flutter Figma, and you'll get a great guide there. All right.
And then
folks,
also Antigravity.
Yeah.
It just should be antigravity.google.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you meant. That makes so much more
sorry.
sense than we were just talking about the Figma thing. So I thought that's what you meant. Yeah. No,
That's a shared context issue. Sorry about that.
That's a lot
Yeah.
smarter.
Yeah.
So this is where you download Antigravity. Oh gosh, that's funny. Okay, folks, thanks so much for tuning in. I had a lovely time. Andy, Rody, you two are the best. For viewers, next week is a US holiday, so I'll be off. And then the week after that, I am just busy, so I'll be off that week as well. And then we'll hopefully, and when I say hopefully, I mean I already told a guest that we will stream on what I believe is December 11th. So hopefully I'll be back on December 11th. And until then, everyone, happy fluttering.
Awesome. Thanks.
Bye. Thank you.